through the country with my seat lean back, thinking about all my success underneath this dirty hat.
You friends, this is what not to do in a truck. And this is how you ruin everybody else's day because you are stupid. Quick, simple, and easy. Do not do this. You will have a lot of pissed off people. Good afternoon, YouTube friends. As you see, I'm on home time. I had a subscriber ask me how to get in the truck drive. A lot of people think it's a big old secret how to do it. A lot of people think that it takes a lot of time, and that you got people on YouTube that'll try to tell you that it's hard to do and takes a lot of time. It really doesn't. I went to a truck driving school 7 years ago. It was 15 days long. On that 16th day, on the 15th day I was graduating. On the 16th day I was starting with a trucking company, my first trucking company. So it's not hard at all. Do I recommend going to trucking companies and getting your CDL? No, I don't. You can do it that way. You can go to a Swift, a Warner, a JB Hunt, a CRST, any major trucking company. They'll have truck driving schools, and they'll all say, well, you come work for us and we'll send you to school, we'll get you your CDL. Fine and dandy. If that's the only way you can do it, do it. Simple, quick, easy. They'll train you the way they want you to be trained. They'll train you on their equipment. They'll put you with one of their trainers. La-di-da-di-da. You're done. You work with them for a year, sometimes a year and a half. That pays for your schooling, and then after that you can go wherever you want. That is an option. Or you can go the route that I went. I went to a paid for truck driving school on my own, got a loan out to pay for it. A lot of these truck driving schools they're like financial aid places, that just like a college that will give you money. Some colleges will even do it. I know in the state of Mississippi where we live, I do believe you can go to the job place, I forget what they call it here in Mississippi. They don't call it unemployment, but Win Job Center is what they call it. And you can go there and fill out application, fill out paperwork, stuff like that. And I do believe they still do it. They will send you to truck driving school if you qualify. So there's another way to do it too. But the reason why I don't recommend going to truck driving school like a lot of these truck drivers down here will do, if you see stuff flying around, there's flies and bees and all sorts of shit out here. But the reason why I don't recommend doing it that way, and the reason why I wouldn't say to do it that way, is because you're tied to that company for that entire year, which is not a bad thing. But if something happens that you don't like at that company, you can't just leave. I started off with CRST, I'm not afraid to admit it, and I didn't like it. I got shit on by my trainer. Not physically, but just the circumstances were shitty. So I just left, quit. What they did was they stranded me. I was on a trainer truck for a month, and my trainer lived in Florida, I lived in Mississippi. He sent me to a hotel in Florida while he was on home time. Then I get a call from the company saying that I'll have to wait there for another trainer. I said, well, why can't you send me home? They said, well, we can't do that. That's too much money. So, okay, whatever. They said it was going to be 2 to 3 weeks before they get me a trainer down there to pick me up. I said, hell no. So I told them, you will find me a bus ticket home. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Either you buy me a bus ticket home or I buy myself a bus ticket home. Somehow, my butt's getting to the house. So they found me a bus ticket to the house. And I went home. And from the time I got home, to the time I went to bed that night, I was filling out applications. Fill out an application for Warner Enterprise. Just that quick. Now, can you do that if you go through a company to get your CDL? Sure can. Sure can. But then you're going to get a bill in the mail for the price of the school, for hotel, for room and board, or for the food they fed you. I've heard horror stories of guys leaving companies and end up getting a bill for $8, $10, $12,000 because they're going to charge you for everything they can charge you for. They're going to charge you for that initial bus ride up there because they're not going to give you a rent-a-car. If you don't pay for your own, if you live far enough away, they may fly you in, but most of the time they put you on a bus. You're going to have to get reimbursed for that bus ticket there and home, if they give you a bus ticket home, for your room, for your food, for everything while you're there that they give you, they're going to want money back for. That's if you go to their truck driving school. Now, if you do what I did and pay for my own truck driving school, yeah, I got to cost me $8,000 to do it, but I was close to home. I went home every night after truck driving school. Didn't have to sleep at a hotel. Didn't have to get bused halfway across the country. I just stayed home. That's Pete. He's my fan. He's a fly. But I just came home every night after truck driving school. So, and when I left CRST and went to Warner, I didn't know CRST no money. Didn't know him a dime. When I left Warner and went to the other company after 2 years, I didn't know them a dime. You know, even if I stayed with them for almost 3 years. But I didn't go to their truck driving school, so they couldn't hold me there. You know, when you go to a truck driving school through a company, they kind of put that lasso around you and they keep you in tight. So my recommendation, if you have a choice, pay for it yourself. Go to a Roadmaster, go to a TDI, go to a college somewhere, go something like that, and go to them to get your CDL. Because in the long run, if you're not happy, why stay somewhere where you're not happy? If they pay for your schooling, you're stuck with them for a year. Now, if you're like, hey, I can stick it out for a year, don't bother me none. Do you, boo-boo? Do you? But that's my recommendation. Now, back to the beginning where I was talking about where I get. 7 years ago, I started driving truck. I went to truck driving school at a local place here in Mississippi. Got my CDL within 15 days. On the 16th day, I was in I was in a truck at a company. Now here, going on 8 years, almost 8 years. This middle of this year will be 8 years. I'm with a good company, a small fleet, semi-small fleet, 60 over-the-road trucks, and I'm happy. I'm making good money, home every weekend, or at least 2 days every week. We got in yesterday. I was home all day. I got into the yard at like 4 o'clock yesterday. I think it was 3:30, 4 o'clock yesterday afternoon. Went home. Called my boss yesterday afternoon after we got to the house. Actually, before we got to the house. I said, boss man, what are we doing? Dispatch said, Salt Lake for Monday. Okay. So, Monday morning we'll be in Salt Lake City, Utah. Dropping off at 7 a.m. Most likely already got a backhaul planned out. I didn't ask them about that backhaul, but they got a backhaul already, so. Deliver Monday. Pick up Monday. By Tuesday morning, depending on where we're going to deliver. Tuesday or Wednesday, we'll be back here at the house, possibly for a night or turning and burning, going out to California or something for the second half of the week. So should be a pretty good week again. Like I said, it's truck driving for your first year is gonna suck. I'm not gonna lie to you. First 2 years maybe suck. You know, a lot of drivers are like, oh, that first year, that's all you need to worry about is that first year. I say the first 2 years, you've got to be careful. Save your money, save your pennies. You know, you're going to be probably making more than once you get to your own truck and start running your own miles and getting the flow of things, you're probably going to be making more money than you probably made before. Don't let it get to your head. Save that money. Save, save, save. Put it back. Even if you got wife and kids, save as much as you can. And the first 2 years are going to be tough. After that, you got it made. You got it made. You can go anywhere you want to go. You can go to any company you want to get. You want that local job, you're going to at least need 6 months to a year verified over-the-road experience with no accent. Sometimes, yes, I'm not going to lie to you, people get lucky and get that local gig right out the gate. It doesn't happen as often as you think. A lot of guys have to be out here for 6 months to a year before they can get that local gig. So if you can do a being away from the family for a year or two, you know, you're going to go home every so often. I don't know how these other companies work it. My company gets me home every weekend. I don't know how these other companies work it nowadays. It's been a long time since I worked for a big name fleet. But get your time in. A year, 2 years after that, you can go get that local job you want to get after 6 months to a year. After 2 years, you're making good money. If you're not making 60, 50, 60, if not 70, if you get that good job, a year after your first 2 years, find someplace else where you are making that money, because you are worth more money than you think out here driving truck. We're very few and far between. Yeah, it seems like there's a lot of trucks going up and down the highway, but there's a lot of empty trucks that aren't going up and down the highway. The freight always has to move. There's always somebody out there that needs something hauled. So once you get your CDL, you keep a clean driving record, keep a clean CSA score, you got a job for the rest of your life. That ain't no joke. You will always have a job. So, like I said, it's a good industry to get into, and you just got to be smart and use your head, and work on that common sense, because you'll find out, if you have a lot of common sense, you'll find out that out here on the road it's not so common. A lot of guys just don't think before they act. So keep your head up, keep pushing. Anything's possible. You'll find that good job, you'll find that good company, and once you do, you'll know it. Stick with it. So at the beginning of this, I'm going to put a video on what happens when people don't pay attention to what they're doing. It's a small little clip, something that I ran to on the way home. Just sometimes people don't pay attention. No matter how long you've been driving, stay on your toes, keep your head on a swivel, always watch what's going on. Y'all have a good day, y'all be good, and be safe.
Gonna be a fucking legend, and I ain't used to this life, but hell, I'm willing to take it. If I'm gonna be famous, then I guess I'm making statements, cause there was times my transportation was these boots on the back.